All right, we are here. We are here. It is Memorial Day weekend, 3-day weekend for all of us who work very hard. We are able to rest our laurels, get ourselves a nice good 10 hours 10-hour sleep. Actually, guys, tell me, is that even classified as a sleep, or is that more of a coma?
Well,
think
I didn't sleep 10 hours, so
I think 10 hours is just on the other side of sleep. You get 11, 12, you're probably in the coma zone.
Mm,
Mhm.
all right, all right. Well, as you guys just hear, we actually have ourselves a special guest here today.
Oh,
And this is the one, the only Trash Panda, and one of my good pals and fellow sparring partner at Saber Guild, Kyle of the Matlocks.
hello. Thank you for having me. I am honored to be here. I feel like I should have prepared a speech or something. Hi, how you guys doing?
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
good.
Good to have you on. We're definitely going to introduce you later, get to the listeners to to know more of you. But all the listeners that know us, I'm Demetrius,
And I'm Demetrius,
and Meech presents.
the Blurred City Podcast.
So after last week's very just like deep episode where we talked about Bitterroot, got into other things that kind of tied into the themes with Bitterroot, we're deciding to kind of just like have a more chill episode. We came back from Comicpalooza 2023 and Houston had an absolute blast of a time. So we're kind of going to just like give our takes on that, then discuss a little bit later in the show Saber Guild and everything with that. But before we get into anything, we always hit you with the legal spiegel.
All right, coming at you from your favorite attorney here. So the purpose of this podcast is to explore digital and print media. All sources we reference are owned by their respective companies, and our thoughts and opinions are strictly our own and reflect no biases or corporate agendas. Your discretion is advised.
All right. So with this episode, we're hoping just like chill, talk about our experience and everything. But coming up in June, it is movie month. So it's purely movie reviews for the podcast in Blurred City. We're going to kick it off with one of the hypest movie, like almost back to back, but like 2 weeks like separate between Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Then we're going to hit you with Transformers, Rise of the Beast. Next one, a movie that might be the greatest superhero movie of all time, the way people are talking about it, The Flash. Like the way people are talking about it, I am like, whoa, okay, I gotta be there for it. And then we're gonna wrap it up by The Blackening, which will be an out-of-pocket podcast.
Oh, you can tell I'm already about to lose it for the blackening. I'm not. I'm
So
not gonna make it.
we're super excited for June. The mailbag will be open if you want to ask us any questions about the movies before or after. Just as a heads up, we mostly record on Saturdays, sometimes Sundays. So if you want to ask questions, you kind of got to get it in by Friday night. So with that, again, thank you for joining us, Kyle. We're going to introduce you after the next segment, but we like to start with saying what's hot. So it's like everything in nerddom or whatever in the culture that's really cool that people are talking about. So what do you guys got?
Lately, I've been getting into Ghostbusters a lot. I feel like by evidence of our experience at Comicpalooza, there was a ton of Ghostbusters there. And there's a new movie coming out later this year. So I'm pretty excited to see that hitting the screens here soon. Yeah.
So Mitch.
Yep. All right. So firstly, let's go ahead and I'm gonna start off real small with the anime scene. As you guys know, One Piece stay goated with the animation, and they got some animators from Warner Bros. To animate a very special debut for a certain thing I'm not gonna spoil for you non-manga readers. But let's just say it's about to get nuts. And then we got ourselves, of course, Demon Slayer, staying with some of the best animation I've seen in a long time. And then I'm still gonna be awaiting to see whenever Attack on Titan drops. I should have it by the time I'm an old man. That series will finally end. And then, but let's just go ahead and get right into it. Let's go talk about video games. All right. So firstly. We missed something last week, and we got to rectify that mistake right now. We got to talk about Mortal Kombat 1.
Yes.
That trailer dropped, and people was hyped, but as hyped as I was about that trailer, I was more hyped about the leaks and about who who are potentially some of the playable DLC characters. I'm just here like, you gonna put these two in here?
Amazon exclusives if you don't know people.
I mean, that ain't gonna be fair for one of them.
Oh yeah, that's domination.
I'm telling you right now, a certain boy who kept ducking the smoke, he ain't gonna make it. He ain't making it in this verse. Not at all, not at all. So, and we're not gonna spoil who it is. If you want to know, just look it up yourself. And then we gotta talk about the PlayStation Showcase. The PlayStation Showcase, in my opinion, it was kind of a bit mid. It was mid throughout this year in comparison to other years. Of course, we got the Metal Gear Solid trailer, which I was like, ooh. At first, I was pretty in about, and then I saw my boy Solid Snake. I'm like, hey, yo, we here. My boy back one more time.
Get your cardboard boxes ready to,
As much as I love playing this Solid Snake and Smash Bros, we just know that my time is about to be ending really soon. You won't be seeing hide nor hair me for like the next couple months. We also get some more horror trailers. We got ourselves some insight with Alone in the Dark. With that one's kind of a remake of that game series, which I'm like, oh, okay. Got our boy David Harborough playing the main character this time. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have our boy Jim Hopper out here in the Alone in the Dark universe. We out here, we lit. But you guys know what we came here to talk about. We're here to talk about the absolute Black Air Force activity that was the Spider-Man 2 gameplay. And firstly, let's talk about Miles. Let's talk about our boy Miles. He got his nice suit. You see that we able to glide in this verse, glide in this game, which I'm like, all right, cool, taking it more from the MCU. And Miles got blue lightning now, totally not to copy Static at all, or Black Lightning at all. I'm not saying anything about that, but
yeah. You don't want to start any beef. No beef here.
I'm not starting anything, but the real highlight was this monstrosity that is known as Peter Parker. Good heavens. Did Yuri Lowenthal just absolutely crush it as this man wearing the symbiote suit? Yes, the black suit is here. And the black suit is here to make its mark and to stomp people out. And stomp people out it does. So all the lines that this man was saying was straight out of pocket. Mm-hmm. It has me terrified for Miles. Because I just know that at a certain point, you're going to have to play as Miles and you're going to have to fight Peter.
Absolutely.
Which means that Miles is just gonna get jumped for this entire month across the Spider-Verse, and then in this PS5 game. What's up with Miles these days? What did he do to make them that mad?
They gotta make him earn it. Peter Parker for years was always like getting kicked when he's down. So they're like, all right, Miles, it's your turn, buddy.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much the main thing I got from all this. Good heavens. What y'all got?
And just to wrap it up kind of quickly, as of this recording, tomorrow, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse will drop. We will be there day one. Absolutely. All of us. Jujutsu Kaisen dropped this trailer. That's going to be hype July. But the one that I was excited about, the one that caused me to get this Ichigo poster right behind me as I speak right now. Bleach Core 2 trailer dropped yesterday, and I lost my mind seeing that. I'm telling you, people, in July, I'm about to go wild when Bleach comes back. That is like one of my favorite animes, and like the return that it had was absolutely incredible. People don't understand the fights that are about to happen. If you thought the fights in the first part were good, you have no idea. So that's just something that I'm super hyped about. And the closer we get to it, we'll talk about it. So with that, we now get into just introducing our guest. Meech, this being your friend, compatriot, sparring partner. Can you kind of like just start the introductions?
All right. So again, coming at you live with his great stature and the ultimate trash pandaness as the ultimate trainer in the Saber Guild Legion. We have ourselves Kyle of the Matlocks. Introduce yourself to the good and gracious peoples.
Hello, good and gracious people. He said that I have great stature. Yep, all 5'4" of me is just happy to be here. Uh, like we mentioned, I met Demetrius Meech, the I guess yeah, the one that knows me and just met me.
The Rogue
Uh,
Jedi
the
himself.
Rogue Jedi himself through Saber Guild. So yeah, I'm out here. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So what would you say is like what got you into like nerddom and stuff like that growing up?
So, look, I've always been a huge dork my entire life. I think it comes from my dad. He read comic books, and he would occasionally read us comic books like instead of bedtime stories. I also blame my mom because she read us like the first Harry Potter book. She read us that book as we went to bed. So I was born in the nerdness, raised by it. Uh,
Molded by it.
yeah, right. Here, let me do like this. Um, we so more specifically with Star Wars, I remember the first Star Wars movie I saw was Attack of the Clones when it came out. And we were gonna go see the animated movie Spirit, the one about the horse. And we
Mhm.
went in there and we were like, this is lame, let's get out of here. So we jumped movies to Attack of the Clones. And it was the scene with all the clone troopers flying into the arena on the Geonosis battle. And as
Ooh.
a small child, I saw that and my mind was blown. I was like, I have to this Star Wars thing. I already kind of knew about it, but I was like, no, this is the greatest piece of media that has ever graced the human, existence. And then from there, it was just that's when the seed was planted. uh, and before even Star Wars, I cosplayed as Robin. Like my friend was Batman and I was Robin, and we started going to Comicpalooza and stuff like that for years. And then just one thing led to another, and now here I am.
Nice, nice. Yeah. So, yeah, so then coming up with that, was there any like special characters that you really loved growing up or like a favorite show you really gravitated towards?
So we already mentioned him. Spider-Man is like the greatest of all time. This is my sewing kit for my costumes. Yeah, I can't see it. This is the audio podcast, but it's Spider-Man himself. He's throwing up the Spider-Man hand. It's pretty awesome. I always gravitated towards that as a kid. I had like a little Spider-Man mask growing up, and we would go and swim in the backyard, and I'd have the Spider-Man mask on, mildly waterboarding myself, but it's fine, whatever.
That's
But yeah, growing up with like the Spider-Man and all that, like, and then the old Spider-Man cartoons, like the Fox Kids, with all that, like the Spider-Man on there. They
Mhm.
had some of the throwback like cartoons that would play as well. That was my jam.
Dope.
Mhm.
And why would you say like you think you never left the nerddom?
I it's just I mean I don't I, how to answer that, right? Uh, just the more you get into it, you meet more and more people, and like if you're tired if you get sick and tired of one thing, you can find something. You can go like you can pivot. You can go and find something else. Go find something new. Get into a new anime or something, and kind of like revive that like like what's gonna happen? Like what's this? Like I'm like halfway through Dragon Ball Super right now, and I'm like oh heart racing. Like we gotta go. Like like whoa, like a new level, like like how big is the hair gonna get? Like now what color is it? Like oh man. So it keeps drawing me in no matter how I try to get away from it.
Makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then finally, hey, I mean, you mentioned Dragon Ball Super. Is there anything else you're into right now?
Well, um I'm not not a terrible and I'm not terribly into anime, but I'm getting into Dragon Ball Super. I'm going back and now I want to rewatch all the Dragon Ball Z series because I watched some of it as a kid, but never really got into it. And then from that, there we go. He's holding up the original Dragon Ball Z series. That's awesome. I'm gonna come get that from you.
Uh,
I'm just excited for the right now the new Ahsoka show that's coming out.
Mhm.
It's gonna be coming out soon. Should be pretty interesting. And the Acolyte show with the Sith. Um, that's there's a lot of cool media coming up here soon.
All right, dope. So with that, introducing you, next we're going to get into our main portion. So we're going to talk about our Comicpalooza experience. This is my second time going to Comicpalooza. So you already mentioned, Kyle, that you've went many times before me. So I'm not sure how many times you've been to Comicpalooza.
Mm,
since like 2019.
All right, so yeah, with that, we can just all get into like what we did during the entire, well, for you too, it was 3 days. For me, it was just 2 days, but our experiences and costumes and things like that.
Oh, I think this year was pretty good. I mean, last year, I think we were still recovering from that pandemic, like everyone cooped up kind of thing. So we were like hitting full stride this year at Comicpalooza, in my opinion. Um, we didn't have any. I mean, like William Shatner was there one day. We had
Mhm.
and that was a pretty big thing. Uh, yeah. How do you feel about it?
Oh man, I found that it was actually a super fun event. Like as I said, like the celebrities came out in full force this year as well. We had the One Piece cast that was there.
Mhm.
The voice of Luffy, as well as the current voice of Goten, Colleen Clinkenbeard. We also had the Read It Boy, Christopher Judge himself, aka Kratos from the new God of War games. He was there, and then we got Stephen Amell, aka Arrow. You had Dominique, aka Ironheart, but then finally we had the main trio from the boys. We got ourselves Jack Quaid. We got ourselves Aaron Moriarty, aka Starlight, and Anthony Starr, who ducked the smoke last year. He finally decided to reveal himself this time. Homelander himself decided to make a guest appearance this year. So all I gotta say, like that was a pretty fantastic lineup. And as you mentioned, like Will Shatner is always gonna be a great time.
Yeah.
He's always gonna be a great guy. So yeah, getting a chance to see all of them was certainly a highlight.
Mm. And like, what did you guys do there? Like, because I know what you did, but the list for the listeners.
Yeah. I'll start. So we were at Demetrius and I, or I guess Meech, the Rogue Jedi, and I are. We're both part of Saber Guild. It's a global organization. We're LFL recognized. So we wear our Star Wars costumes and things like that. But also we have the privilege of also performing choreographed lightsaber fights. So we were at our booth for 3 days, sweating it out, we were working hard. So we're extra tired today.
Yep, my legs still don't work.
Yeah, my feet are still pounding.
But yeah, so that yeah, that weekend was pretty much all. It was just really great because with it, as you say, like many different choreographed fights, we do have like a stage show where in which we practiced for months on getting all of that down, getting all of our acting
That's
in
right.
quotation marks nice and right, and then also leading the interactive Jedi experience, which is essentially a class where we teach kids just a little bit on how to pretend to be a Jedi for a little while, seeing their eyes light up, especially when they are being like we have them use the force and then
Yeah.
everybody just jump backwards. It's really it was just a great experience, and then having all the Sith and many different costume characters come out, and then we go at it in a good fight. It's really incredible stuff.
For me, just I guess this is the Fallen Shinigami Chronicles Part 2 since everyone enjoyed it last week somehow.
Oh,
But with me is just like getting to go Friday and Saturday, buying the weekend pass. So Friday, I tried really hard to see your part, Meech, in the show. But I got hit with that traffic jutsu.
Oh,
So downtown Houston. And then I parked. I thought it was a 10-minute walk. That's what Spot Hero told me. And it was like a 20-minute walk. So I literally like walked in the building like at 5 on the dot. And then I had to go all the way back to the cars to find it. And then I'm looking at you and you're looking at me. And I'm like, okay, you're going to get on stage soon, right? And then it ended. And I was like, wait a minute. It's been like 8 minutes. What? I'm like, the schedule said 5 to 6.
yeah.
yeah, it's typically a shorter. It's typically the stage shows are a bit short on the shorter side, for accommodation purposes and whatnot. I believe Kyle should have more about that.
So with our stage show, we try to leave a little bit of room. So we choreographed and wrote out the stage show to be within that window they gave us. It was like an hour, but it goes pretty quick. And then we also have to we kind of leave in time in case anybody misses a cue or something. We can kind of stretch it out a little bit. Friday, unfortunately, was our soft open. So we were kind of like going quick through it because we were excited to get through it all. But yeah, it was a good time. Friday was our grand opening with Saber Guild, so that was fun.
So, yeah, for the rest of my Friday, Meech, I know we got to walk around for a bit after that, your performance. And then we met up with one of the greatest menaces to society, Gab Freak, and the rest of the crew. So that was...
Oh, heavens.
That was fun getting to watch the wrestling matches that they had and the unnecessarily zesty comments that came from people.
You mean from Gab Freak specifically? Because he was the one wilding out, and because I had to sit next to him, I was like, bro, like don't, just it's like whatever you gonna say, just know, just think about what you're gonna say, and just think like, would you say this to your wife? He's like. And then he just says it anyway. I'm just like, oh goodness, there's no hope for this man.
No filter.
So one of my favorite human beings there. And then with that, we also almost played Ultimate Werewolf, but it was taking forever. So we just decided to instant transmission out of there.
Oh, yeah.
And also, it also kind of helps the fact that I own the game. So hey, if we really wanted to do it, I could just pull out my set and be like, all right, guys. You want to do Ultimate Werewolf? Okay, let's have a game night at my place. Boom, here you go.
So next, for my Saturday, I went with our senior anime correspondent, the Afro Puff Samurai. We did a joint outfit with the scouts from Attack on Titan, which, let me tell you, putting on the outfit was incredibly hard because the harness part was janky from where I got it from. And then I also didn't have the boots, which I wasn't going to buy boots because I would never wear those. I was about to say something wild. I would never wear boots like that outside of a cosplay. So, so I had to kind of jazz it up myself, put my own little spin on it. It actually worked out. The jacket is fly. I think I might be wearing the jacket more just in normal cases. If only it was a little bit longer, but went with that. It was really cool. So she ended up getting an autograph from Luffy. I went around kind of just scouting. And then I met these really cool comic people. It's called 50/50 Comics. People that are listening to this can't see it, but 50/50 Comics, I'm wearing the shirt. They really just kind of talked to me. I got a few of their comic books, started reading it. So it's really interesting with that. I also met Dominique Thorne because she has the same first name as my sister, got an autograph, which was really cool. She's a really nice person. So then next I went to a self-publishing course. Well, yeah, there. And it was really cool just because being an author and just getting to hear other authors talk about self-publishing and everything. So it's really just educational. And that's one thing I really like about Comicpalooza and just different Comic Cons like that, where you can get a lot of information that's just outside of, fandom and geekdom. It's actually like you're learning something. And I think a lot of people can miss that, which is something that we also talk about. And then reckless spending, I saved in advance, but boy, oh boy, did I. Woo wee. I gotta look at my budget before DreamCon. My because
See,
that spending was wild.
see, and this is why I told y'all I was gonna be conservative this year, and conservative I was.
But yeah, and then just to wrap it up, I went to the One Piece Q&A. That was really cool, just kind of hearing their aspects and kind of the journey, knowing that this is a series that's been around for 20 years.
And it's not ending anytime soon.
No time soon. So, lifetime contracts and all that. So, and then kind of wrapping up with your performance. Yeah, you did a really great job limping off the stage. So,
Thank you.
but yeah, just meeting up with the fam was cool. And then all the posters I got right now, I'm putting them up in the process of. So, I had a really great time there. Oh, and also on Friday, I saw the Steel Combat, which was absolutely incredible.
We have a guy who does the full steel longsword fighting that comes and
Ooh.
helps with our Saber Guild, and those guys go crazy. Like they like the HEMA, historical European martial arts people.
Mhm.
That's like dedication to the cause. Like they get out there and they go like full medieval. It's crazy.
It was fun. Yeah, like when some of the swords were like crossing, like sparks flew, and just the crowd was going crazy on Friday night for that battle. That was super fun. Yeah, so just with that, speaking of just like comic paloozas and comic cons, like anything you guys want to touch on with like the importance or like fun of these events?
So when I wasn't being a Jedi or a Sith, I went out with the Yellow Rose Ghostbusters. They're the one of the Houston like Ghostbuster groups. Shout out to Yellow Rose. We went out and there's three of the Yellow Rose guys who started the club, and then there's me. I'm like the recruit, and we're out here. And then we met four other Ghostbusters, just people dressed as Ghostbusters, and we're all walking in this big group of eight, 10 jumpsuited people with backpacks on, and someone comes up to us and was like, "Hey, y'all want to meet the mayor?" We were like, "Oh, okay, yeah." We thought they were talking like the movie or something. Like, sure, let's go over here. And like all the security is everywhere, and then lo and behold, it's the mayor, Sylvester Turner, mayor of Houston. Like he comes up, like shakes everyone's hands, like poses for a picture. It was it was crazy. We were like, "Oh." The picture I'm in, I was like, my face is like, I can't even believe. I'm like, what, is this really happening? Like, like, whoa, just stuff at Comicpalooza. You never know what's gonna happen next.
That's wild.
Yeah, and then on my end, at least on like Sunday, I like a few of us actually ended up participating in the Star Wars March, where we pretty much like get to walk like all of the Star Wars cosplay, all like the Star Wars cosplay people with their lightsabers. We just gathered outside and then we walked around the con. And again, my legs were on fire, but and I'm pretty sure I sweated at least like 3 gallons. But at the end of the day, it was actually incredible being able to see like just walking with all of us in a unit, and I was actually paired next to a Darth Vader. Well, it was a battle damaged Darth Vader, so
Oh,
so of course, like each time, like at random points, we'd have to like stop and then do some poses. So like one would be like me getting force choked by Vader, another one would be like us clashing, and then another one would be me like slashing the face open and just different things like that. And we do it for like multiple takes throughout the entire march. And it was just fun and incredible. And I think that just really goes to show just how like in the nerd community we can there's just no shame whatsoever. We just gather together. You just look at one person and then you look at another person with the same with similar cosplay, and y'all just immediately link up, and
Right.
you're just immediately on the same wavelength, and you just know exactly what to do, and it just becomes a blast.
Yeah, it was really cool. Especially like being a scout. Like people like coming up to me and being and Paulina being like, "Yo, can we take pictures?" Like being so geeked about it. I think is like really cool because like you mentioned Meech and like you mentioned Kyle, where it's literally like you're just enjoying your fandom and like people also enjoy it with you, and it's so easy to connect. And it kind of ties into what we talked about last week, Meech, where it's like we're all just humans and we all just like enjoy things and like it's not that complicated for us to get along, but we do at sometimes like that. And just to really be comfortable with that, it's not often you can dress up outside of like a party or a Halloween and
Yeah.
to just like be in that realm where it's just like very comfortable. And a lot of people feel more like themselves, where if you were to do that in I don't know, go to Walmart and dress like that, you'd get scolded or dirty looks and stuff like that. So I think that's why it's really important.
Who's to say I haven't gone to Walmart in my Jedi costume? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, more than once. Yeah, to my wife's dismay.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I wonder what she goes. I wonder what she did to you afterwards.
Uh,
Horse choke.
you know. Whoa, wait, hey, family show. We're not gonna-
To the gulag he went,
That's right. I was out.
and from the pits he returned.
That's right.
Yeah. So you guys got anything else of Comic Palooza or just Comic Cons in general?
If I just want to let everybody know, if you're going to a Comic Con for the first time, drink water because it is a hike. You know, you won't notice it until you get home and your feet are swollen and you're like, oh no, what did I do? And 48-hour fatigue is real. So if the con ends on Sunday, Tuesday, when you don't want to get up out of bed, it's because you didn't stretch before the con walk.
Mm. And also, if you're going to do a cosplay, take weather into account. See, in Houston, we are used to 90-degree heat, and but unfortunately, our at least for us, our Jedi costumes do not allow for such a ventilation, if you will. And even even for me, I have to wear like an undershirt to absorb all of the sweat so it doesn't get on my
Look,
my tunics at all.
I'm
Which
telling you, with I would take my like my boots off, the knee-high boots we gotta wear for being a Sith, and I'd have sweat rings, like those dried up sweat rings at the top of the boots. Like, oh, it's tough wearing black pants, all black, running around all day.
Yep. So just a big thing with just nerds in general, and for all of us, wear deodorant. Um, wear deodorant. Have some body spray on you at all times because you may never know if you smell like you came out of the trash.
Cool. So with that, we'll go to our sponsor for the day and then get into the Saber Guild talk.
All right, so for today's sponsor, we have none other than the Coruscant Guild of lightsaber combat. With it, we can go ahead and go to the esteemed planet of Coruscant, be in our local government, and learn its politics, as well as be trained by the greatest Jedi masters of all time, including the likes of Jedi Master Decytherian. If you want to be a part of this fabulous union, come to us today because I will show you the true power of the Force.
Nope. So with that, since Kyle, you're also part of the Saber Guild, we thought it would be a great opportunity just for like kind of both of you to have a chance to talk about it. So it's going to be mostly me asking you two questions and then kind of just like discussing Saber Guild. So starting from this beginning, what kind of got you guys both into actually joining the guild?
I'll go first. This is an announcement to the world. I didn't even want to join Saber Guild at first. Me and my twin, we joined at the same time, and I wanted to be in a lightsaber combat, like actually fight with lightsabers, like get your pads on and your fencing helmet and wail on people. But my twin brother, who is more of a theater nerd kind of guy, he was like, I want to do like choreography. I want to do like more acting with it. And so we went with Saber Guild because I'm a pushover sometimes. And he's dropped out of Saber Guild and I'm still in it. And even at one
Oh
point, I
man.
was the assistant local director for a little while. And so, not to say I don't love Saber Guild, but I was reluctant at first.
Meech.
Yeah, and for me, I'm sure you know, well, both of you guys know the story. So, like, when we went to Comicpalooza last year, we both stumbled upon y'all's booth, both stumbled upon your guys's just show, and we both like saw it, and we're just like, oh wow, that I was like, is this what I think it is? And then I just immediately just went like, all right, can I fight with the lightsabers? And it's like it's more choreography, and in my mind, I just went, I'm holding a lightsaber and I'm swinging it at somebody. I do not care. Just where do I sign up immediately? And immediately and expeditiously. So went to the adult class that we had on that y'all had on that Saturday. And then of course got the information on like where practice was, and then the rest was history.
That's
Right.
right. And you've been I think one of the fastest learning recruits I've seen. And I don't want to, inflate anybody's ego, but yeah, wipe
Please,
the
please
tears away.
don't.
Well, no, it's because I would show Meech like a move, or we would go over the choreo, and we practice every week. So then he'd come back the next week, and he would know it, like he had been doing Saber Guild, and then he was like, "Okay, what are we doing now?" And sometimes I'd be like, "Oh, okay, let me make up something in my head to like give him something to do for the next week." It's pretty impressive with him and the other guy that came in, Scott, at the same time as him. They came in and they're a great addition to our group.
We gotta check that midichlorian count, Mitch.
Yeah.
It's like I may have Anakin levels of midichlorian.
All right. So with that, were there any like stigmas or worries you guys had before joining?
I My worry with before joining was I would never get it because our choreography system is kind of daunting to learn at first. I mean, we only have to count to nine, but for every strike we have is a strike and a block, and I couldn't even like do the cha-cha slide, much less swing a lightsaber, and you know on top of that, you're going out there and you're having to perform this whole play. You are coming up with Star Wars in front of people. So it's kind of this big ask to be like, okay, you're gonna learn how to do all this, and then you got to go do it in front of people, not just for your friends. Like, get out there into the public, and go be sweaty in some space pajamas. Like, oh, thank you.
I think my biggest worry was, man, am I gonna be a Jedi first or a Sith first? Do I go with? And then y'all told me like, all right, what do each options entail, and
Yeah.
like what your responsibilities are for each? I'm like, oh man, the Jedi is not really enticing at all for me. I really want to be full dark side, but I know I gotta start off as a Jedi. It's born and bred into me, even though I'm probably the most aggressive one humanly possible. But you know what? We're gonna go for it.
There you go. You're just a really dedicated Jedi. You like to push the evil away.
Or destroy it.
Yeah, that too.
Our own Mace Windu.
Yeah, that's right.
Or
The
Anakin.
Houston's. Oh,
All
I'd
right.
pick Mace.
So what kind of goes into like being a member?
So when you first start going to Saber Guild, like we don't require any dues, we don't require anything. You have to have a costume that matches our costume requirements that we have. And once you have a costume that meets all the standards, you also have to have a lightsaber that's combat ready. And so once you have those two things and you perform with us, you get approved with our global costuming, people. And then we do our shows and things like that to like for charity. To maintain membership, you have to do, I mean, I believe it's like 2 events a year, and you become part of the larger Star Wars, like, group community. A lot of the time, it's really easy to, I say that, I'm going to pick my words correctly. You can get a costume and things like that, but the commitment part that comes with it that kind of goes into being in Saber Guild is that weekly practice. You have to actually learn like our choreography, which is that's the hardest part in my opinion, is like sticking with it, is having to make that commitment to it. But being a member, we follow the 3 C's. So we have costuming, community, and charity. So as long as you keep those three like C's in your mind, it's just really a rewarding group to be part of.
Nice.
Yeah.
Each anything. I know
mean,
like your costume, you got it done at like the 13th hour.
Yeah.
so a big thing about like the whole costuming process is the fact that is like, yeah, you can get a costume made and you can get it done. It's just the matter of like having it fully approved, because the global community, like they take an extensive look at every aspect of the costume. And like if they notice any type of error whatsoever, it's up to you to get that fixed. And when it's like a time where like, hey, we have like a show coming up in like the next few weeks or month or so, and you have to get that done expeditiously.
Mhm.
And but in our case, like in my case, it was kind of interesting because of the fact that at that time most of it was Star Wars Celebration that year, and because of that, many of the folks, they were at Star Wars Celebration, so it took a while in order to get to like take a look at everything, get it approved. And then of course with my kit, which is my entire costume, like there were many different small issues that needed to get laid out. But shout out to our special LCC coordinator Reagan, who worked tirelessly to get us approved, and like to get all the costuming and everything fixed just in the nick of time to get us approved for Comicpalooza. Like she and the entire leadership, they were just on top of it.
Dope. Yeah, so with that, I pulled up once to a practice, but can y'all kind of illustrate to the listeners what a typical practice looks like? For you could also go from either general practice, or I know since you guys literally just had a performance, like what a performance practice looks like.
With a general practice, with Saber Guild, we just go over kind of just we just a general practice. We go over our choreography system. We look at like scripting, trying out new moves, looking at fights. When you first join Saber Guild, we have like it's kind of like a belt system, but you don't get a belt. It's like any martial combat. You have like we have stages set out. So when you first join, you learn our 9 strike system. Once you show proficiency in that, you can move on to the 2-1 fight, which is it's called 2-1 because it's the second step and it's the first fight. So that's the 2-1 fight there. And then once you are able to perform our 2-1 fight, and then you perform it at an event, you can go and move up to start learning the 3-1. You don't always have to go and wait like through each one of those, but that's typically how the progression goes. So, for instance, Meech, he learned the 2-1 and the 3-1, and he did the 2-1 at Comicpalooza, and then he turned around and did the 3-1 with me. So he got like it's basically he went like he skipped some Super Saiyan levels. He went straight all the way through it at one event. Uh, so It was pretty good. So at general practice, we go over our, our level 2 ones, our 3 ones, and things like that. Compared to if we're getting ready for an event, we have more of a like what we're gonna do at the event. So it's more of like rehearsals for the show. So we would do like a practice interactive Jedi experience, or we would do a practice stage show, which is more of a focused thing. Um, Typically, unless it's right before like a big major events like Comicpalooza, we it's all general practice. Anybody can come, and we'll pretty much accept anybody who wants to walk in and learn it, because we're all about, we just love sabering. So we're like, come on down.
Yeah, and even going along with that is just it was just like especially as a first timer and probably in one of the younger ones and one of the well more younger in terms of experience, not younger in terms of age. I lose that one pretty expeditiously.
Yeah.
But but when it comes to that, it's just really more of a community type of deal. Like we of course like we're practicing, but we're also like checking in with each other, seeing like how our lives are, and just really having a fun time, warming up, learning the techniques, and just really like having witty banters, especially from this guy Kyle, and just laughing while still just having fun and being focused with the choreography and focusing on like all right, what's the next thing you want to learn or next thing that you need to like work on. And then of course afterwards we typically like go out to eat, and that's where again like one of the 3 C's, which is community, that's what we're building.
Dope, dope. And I know like both of you mentioned it, but like, do you kind of want to educate the people on the difference between choreography and then like combat with the sabers, just like whacking each other?
Sure. So the combat is think about like fencing. You ever like if you can think of a fencer, listener, close your eyes and think of like what you think of when you think of like the little swords, the little like like they're trying to poke each other, right? It's like a sport. So you're trying to, with combat, you're trying to actually hit each other and earn points to win, like this, to win the little skirmish you're in. With choreography, we're more of the, like what you would see in a movie. We're like the big flashy, we spin our sabers around and we're not actually trying to, like hit each other. So we use a system that's kind of like dance steps in a way. We use 9 points, and we write out fights. So like our first level fight is 878 3 4 1 2 3 4 4 2 3 1 5 4 2 1 6. Like we go down the numbers. We have a big long list of things like that, and so every strike, even if it looks like something crazy, it's all planned out beforehand, so nobody's actually getting hurt.
Oh, dope. Yeah. So how many performances have both of you done?
So I've been an official member with Saber Guild since I just looked it up earlier before I got on here. It was April 19th of 2019. So we I don't know, we have tons of Kung Flu's experience. I couldn't even count for me.
And I can officially count mine since it just happened. I see. Friday I did one IJE and then the stage show. Saturday I did 2 IJEs and the stage show. And then Sunday, 1 IJE and the stage show. So 7 different like performances.
No, no. And do you get a different like name each time? I know Mitch, you have a Jedi name. Kyle, since you've been around, do you like have different, characters and official names?
Yes. So when you are first approved, they give you your Saber Guild designation. So I'm SG 670, and that'll never change. You always are your number. But each time you do a new costume, they give you a new, it's kind of like rolling a new character in Dungeons and Dragons. So I have a Sith and a Jedi approved, and my Sith is my first costume because the Sith are awesome. Sith rules. And he's called Tevalok Rathawar. And then I went back and eventually I did a Jedi, which was like the Jedi version of my Sith called Tevik Breline. So they're both the same character, but that you do get a new name every time.
Oh,
And then
Meech, you want to give, yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm currently SG 1080. I'm in high definition. Yes, yes. As soon as I got that number, I'm pretty much gonna wear that joke till the day it dies, or the day I do. And my current character name is Therian, Jedi of the Jedi Order. Pretty much that's me, and that's always been a name that I like. When I was writing, I did like a whole like Star Wars based story, and I used the name Therian that I created all the way back in middle school. So it was awesome being able to bring that name back. I'm like, oh, I get to use that name after all these decades. I'm like, let's go.
That's dope.
So when can we expect Darth Meech to be a thing? Because we you need a Sith costume next, so I think you'll be prime for Darth Meech territory.
Oh yes, you mean Darth Toxin?
There you go, Darth talk. Hey, you got to figure it out.
Yeah,
Darth Venom.
well, no, and actually, like while we were at the Comicpalooza, there's another guy, Trent, and he had a Spawn shirt on, and I actually ran into a Spawn cosplay, and like we were both talking about that, and he just went like, I was like, man, what would we do in order to get like a Spawn kit to be approved? And he said like, hey, why don't you do like a Sith Spawn? I'm like, and now I'm looking at like, all right, how can I like do all the Pantones and like all the colors right to where I could be Spawn as a Sith.
Now, so I mean, we recently approved weathering, or not recently, but it's been made aware to us here in Houston that in Saber Guild you can have some weathering with your Jedi or Sith. So there might be a Darth Spawn possibility in your future.
What's weathering for the listeners?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's throwing around some lingo for the pros out there. Weathering is like the like battle damage, or like what it would be like if you actually were wearing that. So it's a term used in movies and things like that. Some of the 501st, they're the clone troopers, the people in the plastic armor that look really cool. They use weathering to make it look like battle damage, blaster marks, or like they've been like crawling to the mud to go do a mission. For us, it looks like just any sort of battle damage, any sort of thing that would make your costume look a little bit more lived in, a little bit more like of the universe. So like you've been out in your spaceship and you just jumped out and had to blast three, droid blaster bolts, and you have a little bit of like battle damage on your tabards or something like that.
And just to kind of wrap this up, any advice to anyone that might be interested in joining something they find fun but are worried about public perception?
For me, I would just say just take that step. Like, because it's, you don't want to be like, oh, the dorky like Star Wars guy, but there's nothing, no one's gonna really judge you. Like everyone that sees us in Saber Guild, they're like, that's the coolest thing. Like they've never even seen before. It blows their mind, and all you have to do is just take that first step, and that's the hardest part. Truly, it's just once you get in there and start doing it, you'll become more like it. You'll just realize that any apprehension you have was just your own mental barrier. I just say take the step, take the first leap.
I mean, yeah, that pretty much hit the nail right on the head. I guess like the main thing I would add is to like if you want to like join something you find fun, like hey, just like look it up and just see like hey, see like what everybody's all about, see like hey, if it's the right fit for you, and just don't and just like leave all preconceptions at the window. Just do yourself due diligence, count the cost on like what your situation may be, because like hey, you may want to join this community but you may find you don't have enough time to commit to it, type of deal. But that doesn't stop you from joining. That you just gotta like weigh the cost of everything like you do in all of life, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks so much for just getting to have an opportunity to talk about this. So as we start to wrap up the show again, listeners, this is a very light episode before we get into June, where Meech and I will be absolutely drained. So with that, we can get into our recommendations and plugs.
All right. So firstly, you will be drained by that, not me. I'll be on a hunt. All right. So let's see. So for main recommendations, I of course would recommend everybody to go to a con of any sort, wherever you may be located at. If you're located in the Houston, Texas, or in the Texas area, Comicpalooza is an excellent experience. Fan Expo Dallas is coming up in June. That is an awesome opportunity for you to go to. I'm pretty sure tickets are still on sale for that. And then of course there's your standard like Comic-Con in San Diego, which I know you got to plan for that in advance. Same thing with the one in New York. You got to plan for those in advance because those are the big ones. But I'm 1,000% sure that there are other smaller cons that you can find in your different like state or area. You just gotta do your research and see like when those events are. But yeah, that's, and then of course watch Star Wars. Disney Plus is a thing. Go ahead, do it.
If for me, a plug for me would just be if you are interested in joining Saber Guild, you can reach out to us on Facebook. We have a recruitment page, so look up Mustafar Temple recruitment page. You can reach out through there, or if you want to just look at our organization as a whole, look up saberguild.org. And then you can take that first step into a larger world of Jedi choreography. That's pretty awesome. Also with Saber Guild in the Houston area, and we are supporting the Make-A-Wish, so you can go through there and you can support Make-A-Wish. And they're collecting money for that. So yeah, that's boom, killed it.
So, recommendations for me, again, 50/50 Comics, two of the books that I got. Also met the kind of the authors of it, Trapper, and then also Lycos, the Metal Wolf. So if you get the opportunity, just kind of check that out, want to support them, go ahead, do that. Any recommendations, like me said, just do your due diligence on cons. We will be setting up on Anime Houston soon. It's too late for DreamCon, and we will, if you want our thoughts on that, go look at our John Wick episode.
Oh Lord.
So with that, yeah, plugs, hit us up, Meech.
All right, so we got ourselves our Instagram and our Twitter at BlerdCity22. Come give us a like, come give us a follow. This is where we'll be updating you on all of our events, all of our things that we got going on. We have ourselves our YouTube and our Patreon under Blerd City Pod. That's where, and with the Patreon, hey, if you donate a little cheddar, you can get yourself access to very exclusive episodes not seen on the podcast since the last time we did it. And then after that, we have ourselves our Discord, which is linked in our Instagram page. Go ahead, hit that link, and then boom, you'll be part of a booming community. You'll join our citizenry. And then finally, we have ourselves our email, blerdscity22@gmail.com. That's where you post. That's where you can pose questions for our mailbag. That's where you can pose different like random fan theories or geek out freak outs or any suggestions for our podcast from there. And that's all we have for our plugs for the podcast. But going to personal ones, I am the Rogue Jedi 21 on TikTok for however long we got TikTok because, well, we know that it's getting banned. So keep it for as long as you can. But I'll post as much as I can on there. But it's probably it ain't gonna be looking good for the platform, just like Vine. But yeah, that's me. What you got?
All right, so just another recommendation. Next week we will be doing Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Go see that if you have the opportunity to. That's going to be I know it's going to be a good movie. Like that's all I can say. Again, the movie mailbag will be open, blerdscity22@gmail.com. Try to get your questions in Friday night, Saturday morning. If you do have questions, we're taking it for any movie that I listed earlier. And then for our Patreon, like Meech mentioned, we're going to try to post 1 to 2 episodes per month moving forward. Most likely one, but we'll see as time progresses. So for my individual author pages, we have my Instagram, Metri_dash, so METRI_DASH, and my Twitter at the Matt-16. And if you're interested in my book, Phantom Pains, A Most Irregular Tale, you can catch that on Amazon. So as we like to leave our listeners, we always leave them with some words of encouragement. And with our guest, Kyle, can you hit our listeners with something before we go?
Never trust a man in a tunic. That's my advice for you people out there. There you go. That's what I got.
Love it. All right. So as listeners, as the music starts to play, it's not goodbye forever. It's just goodbye for now. And that's the Blerd City Podcast.
See ya later.